Jerioth, wife of Caleb, in 1 Chronicles 2:18. The Bible's genealogies are full of names that appear once and then vanish, leaving us with centuries of unanswered questions. One of these is Jerioth, a woman mentioned in a single cryptic verse connected to a man named Caleb. Who was she? A cherished wife? A second, lesser-known partner? Or a ghost in the text? A puzzle for the ages? Today, we're not just reading the Bible. We're becoming biblical detectives. Our mission is to open the case file on 1 Chronicles 2:18 and figure out who this forgotten woman really was. We'll sift through the evidence, weigh the theories, and see what her brief mention tells us about God's incredible story. This is the search for Jerioth. Our entire case hinges on one verse, 1 Chronicles 2:18. The King James Version reads, "And Caleb the son of Hezron begat children of Azubah his wife, and of Jerioth. Her sons are these, Jesher, and Shobab, and Arden." The problem is the phrase, "and of Jerioth." The original Hebrew is ambiguous. Does it mean Caleb had children with his wife Azubah, and also with Jerioth, or something else entirely? Then there's the second clue. Her sons are these. The pronoun her is singular. So are these the sons of Azubah, who is clearly named as his wife, or do they belong to Jerioth? It's a biblical puzzle. Before we explore the theories, it's important to note this is Caleb, son of Hezron, a leader in the tribe of Judah. He is not the more famous Caleb, the faithful spy who stood with Joshua. Most scholars agree they are two different men. Now that we've examined the evidence, let's walk through the possible scenarios. Jerioth is a second wife or concubine. This is the most straightforward reading. In this scenario, Caleb had two partners, Azubah, his primary wife, and Jerioth, either a second wife or a concubine. The text gives Azubah the title his wife, a distinction Jerioth doesn't get, which could imply a difference in status. Polygamy was common for clan leaders like Caleb to guarantee heirs. If this is true, the sons listed, Jesher, Shobab, and Arden, would belong to Jerioth. This reading is simple and fits the culture of the time. Jerioth is another name for Azubah. This theory suggests Jerioth isn't a separate person, but another name for Azubah. The verse would mean something like, Caleb had children by his wife Azubah, also called Jerioth. The name Jerioth itself means curtains or tents, so it's possible this was a description rather than a personal name. The best evidence for this is the singular pronoun, her sons. If Azubah and Jerioth are the same person, then her sons clearly refers to her. It's a very neat, though unproven, solution. Jerioth is Azubah's mother. A third, more complicated theory comes from some ancient translations like the Syriac and the Vulgate. They suggest the original text might have read, Caleb begat children of Azubah his wife, the daughter of Jerioth. If true, Jerioth isn't Caleb's wife at all, but his mother-in-law. The problem is, this requires changing the Hebrew text as we have it, which makes this theory highly speculative. So why did the chronicler, writing hundreds of years later, care so much about these names? Genealogies weren't just boring lists. They were the backbone of the nation, written to remind the Israelites of their identity after the exile. They established who belonged to which tribe, who had rights to the land, and traced the royal line of King David. Caleb, son of Hezron, was the leader of a huge clan, and his wives, Azubah and Jerioth, are named for one reason. They were the mothers of this lineage, securing their branch of the family tree in the story of Judah. The revelation, the most likely solution. After looking at the evidence, where do we land? Who was Jerioth? While we can't be 100% certain, the evidence points most strongly to Jerioth was a second wife or a concubine of Caleb. This theory requires the least amount of gymnastics with the biblical text. The structure, he had children by Azubah and by Jerioth, is a natural way to list two partners, and while the singular her sons is a bit awkward, it most likely refers back to Jerioth, the last woman named. Plus, the cultural context of polygamy makes this a normal situation for a clan leader. The other theories are tempting because they're tidy, but they remain elegant guesses or require changing the original text. So, the most direct reading suggests a family with Caleb, his primary wife Azubah, and a second partner, Jerioth, who gave him 3 sons. Why spend all this time on one confusing verse? Because the story of Jerioth teaches us something profound. First, it highlights the vital but often overlooked role of women in the Bible. Jerioth's name is preserved because she was a mother. She helped build the house of Judah, reminding us that in God's plan, everyone who contributes to the family of faith has a place of honor. Second, the very confusion around Jerioth is a lesson. The Bible doesn't always give us neat answers. Our faith isn't built on solving every genealogical puzzle, but on the bigger truth these lists point to: God's unwavering faithfulness, working through messy families and obscure people. Finally, think about her name, Jerioth, meaning curtains. It's a beautiful metaphor. She is a figure behind a curtain, her full story veiled from us. But behind that veil was a real woman who lived and raised her sons. Her place in Scripture invites us to look for the Jerioths in our own lives, the forgotten people whose small acts of faithfulness were essential to God's plan. Our search for Jerioth has taken us through textual criticism and history, and while clues suggest she was a second wife, her presence in the Bible is a powerful testament that in God's story, no one is ever truly forgotten. Every name and every link in the chain matters. So what do you think? Based on the evidence, who do you believe Jerioth was? Let me know your theory in the comments below. If this story inspired you, please hit subscribe and share this video to help others discover the hidden figures of the Bible. Thanks for joining me on this quest.